Here are a few ways to make the most out of a horizontal planner layout. Hey y'all, I'm Elisa, the Scrappy Wife behind ScrappyWife.com, and today we're going to continue with our series of diving into each and every different kind of planner layout to see how to get the most out of that layout. There's all kinds of ways to use a million different layouts, and sometimes it can feel overwhelming to figure out which one is the right one for you and for your needs. So my hope is that this series, as I work through each layout, will help you kind of gain a little bit more insight into which one will work for you. So today we are looking at the horizontal layout. The horizontal layout looks like this. To me, it is the classic planner layout. This is the layout that many of us had back in the day in our little 5-star planners as we got our very first paper spiral bound planner probably back in the day. So I'm excited to dive into this layout. As always, I will link everything down below. This is one of the layouts that I do offer over in my shop on ScrappyWife.com, offering it undated on some really high quality paper that you are going to love. I promise. All right, if you are ready to find out ways that you can use the horizontal layout to maximize your function, let's go. All right, so let's start out with some of the basic functions that you are probably using a catch-all planner for. Say you wanted to use the horizontal layout to keep track of your schedule and tasks. There are many, many ways to do that. I have always been someone that prefers to use boxes to highlight schedules. So for instance, I might pull a few boxes like so. If I have a couple meetings on a Monday, I can add these in. And they just give me an opportunity to have those schedules ready to go. I could probably even bring in, I don't know, we could add in a little fun as well. Make today count. Let's put that one in here. So I might have morning things over here. I would probably list left to right, which sounds weird. That might be an odd way to list things out, but I would probably add it in that way. Let me grab some more functional boxes. Surely this book has some. Oh, maybe in the back. Those are longer ones. I mean, geez, I could even do some larger ones. You might even have a moment like this added in. So I might do something like early meeting. Let me grab a pen. All right, so I might have 11 a.m. meeting with Jamie and 1 p.m. coaching. And then for me, I'd probably list over here, we'd have gymnastics, soccer, and baseball. That's kind of how my world goes. Gymnastics at 4:30, soccer at 6:15, and baseball at 5:30. That's probably what would happen. And I would add in bullet points for tasks that also needed to get done during the day. That might be an example of how I do it. You can also format it a little bit differently. You might like to have a list of what is going on for a particular day ready to go. So for instance, you can have, let me find, you might pull out some different bullet points or stars in this case. Maybe you're wanting to list out your schedule for the day like so. You have a few scheduled activities or meetings or whatever the case may be. Over here, let me just add one more. All right, so you might end up with like 8 a.m. dentist, 11 a.m. Bible study, 3 p.m. yoga, 7:30 dinner with friends. So that might be how you like to list out your schedule. And then maybe you're someone like me. I like to kind of have a running to-do list for the week. Rarely do I have specific tasks on specific days. For me, it tends to be a little bit more, hey, I need to get certain things done this week, and I just got to find my list of things. So I can add my different task list moments right here and kind of stagger them through the week. I would probably end up, if this were my spread, I'd probably end up with another one over here. Oops, got a little marker everywhere. Another one over here that I would end up staggering with adding in a little extra decor here and there, probably a piece here, just to fill up the space. But it's pretty easy to do your lists and to still be decorative, to still have this be a functional planner. The other thing is you have this space up here, which can be good for having your running to-do list, having your big priorities for the week, things like that. All right, let's talk about using the horizontal layout to track your wellness and fitness, medical, and health. So there's some different ways to look at this. This is not the first layout that I think of for those particular categories. However, I think perhaps especially for tracking wellness journaling and maybe tracking symptoms for medical reasons, for health reasons, this might actually be pretty darn ideal. So let's talk about some things I would do. First of all, I would use this top section as a place to set goals. So this is my little check-in moment right here. List 2 things to focus on to help you stay on track. That is what I would use that particular section for. I'd probably add some extra, I don't know, some little inspiration here and there. So this is your year. Setting my inspiration for the week. I'm going to add a little bit more down here because that's what I like. Let's see if I need a functional box down there though. What can I find? Yeah, I might have reflection moments that are happening. Maybe if I'm setting some workout goals or food goals or whatever the case, getting out of the house goals, whatever the case may be, a little reflection at the end of the week. This area specifically is awesome for habit tracking. So I would probably have a couple of my weekly habit trackers like ready to go up here so I can track water or exercise days. Some of my goals tend to be like not pressing the snooze alarm, things like that. So adding a few habit trackers in this area can be really helpful. And then you have them at your fingertips for throughout the week. Let me see if I probably add a little something up here for some of those different habits. And then here's what I would do. If this were wellness, fitness, that type of thing, I have some different stickers for goals right here. I might have certain goals on certain days. And I just want to write out what that goal is going to be, give myself a space for that on those days. And then I can track those goals. Maybe those goals were specific workout goals. Maybe they were goals of getting some things done around the house, whatever the case may be. But that allows me to track my fitness. I would end up most likely kind of dividing this up. If I were using this for a wellness fitness purpose, I would bring in a ruler. And here's how I would do it. So I would have one side that was tracking. For my wellness, I'm often tracking food because it can get crazy. So I would probably have breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, and give myself a space to write out what I have or what I'm planning to have. And then over here would be my exercise goals. So I would have miles that I ran, time, calories, and pace. Those are generally the things that I track when it comes to fitness. So because I'm a runner and that's what I like to do. So that would be a very practical way to divide it up. And then of course you can work in some creative ways to decorate around that, but it can be very functional. As a symptom tracker, I think that is a fantastic way to use this particular spread, because here's what I would do if you are looking for certain symptoms. So maybe you are tracking headaches or even headache triggers. I might have a little key up here where I have certain colors are, let's see, if I were tracking if I'm tracking migraines. So I might have a place to write, I had a migraine today, this is what was happening, this is how long it lasted. And then I might have a color code of triggers. So smells, sounds, weather, and probably stress. And then I could add, like I could highlight those in different colors. Let me grab my highlighters. So for me, I might color code this even. And so if I were writing about my migraine on a Monday, if I had a migraine that day, then I would probably even just highlight, hey, Monday was a smell day. And if I noticed that, hey, Wednesday was also a smell day, I could start to kind of track my symptoms and maybe some of the causes in that way. That could be a really helpful method for kind of keeping track of symptoms and what some of the triggers, or trying, especially if you're in the discovery phase of some of these things. I know my daughter has been having headaches and we're trying to figure out what some of her triggers are. Then this would be a really good way of her to kind of just write about what was happening when the headache started. What did it feel like on this particular day? So we could look back and have that log of sorts. All right, so it is probably no secret that what I think this spread, this layout kind of works really well for would be journaling purposes. The first of which comes to mind for me is faith journaling. I love a horizontal layout for your faith journaling for a couple of reasons. First of all, if you like to do scripture writing, I've had several of you kind of reach out and ask what layout would be best for scripture writing. I'm here to tell you it is the horizontal layout. So because you can easily add a little bit of a sticker right there. You have your scripture. I would probably write the scripture reference right here. And then I could easily write out the scripture, maybe even some thoughts, depending on how hard or how long the scripture is. Like write the scripture and then write a prayer that goes with the scripture, maybe using a couple different colors. That would be something that is really easy to do and incorporate in this particular type of spread. It's something that I have done in the past and very much enjoy. You also might have an opportunity to have something like this. If you are writing out John 3:16, maybe you want to write out some references. Hey, this also ties well to this scripture. And you're kind of doing a scripture dissection in a way on this page. And it's just a way that you can track the scriptures that you're writing each and every day. For me, I like to use the horizontal layout. I kind of use the faith layout that is on my website. But of course, if you prefer the horizontal, this is an excellent way to track the scriptures that you are reading each day. So I like having the box at the end. I write out my scripture references. For me, that's going to be Psalms, New Testament, and Old Testament. I have scriptures in each every day. Oops, getting a little crazy over there. And then I will read those scriptures and take a few notes right there. That works really well. This is limited space. So sure, if you're doing an in-depth study of something and you're wanting to take pages and pages and pages of notes, this isn't ideal. For me, in my morning quiet time, where I know that after reading, writing just a few sentences to kind of summarize some of the things I read helps solidify thoughts, helps things work through my brain in a different way. That's why I've really loved this, because it also helps me track and stay on track with my quiet time. I've had a lot of you also ask, how do you stay on track? How do you do this each and every day? Having a calendar that I want to fill out, that I actually desire to have all of the notes in, is really helpful as well. So just something to keep in mind. This is also a great opportunity to do a bit of prayer journaling. So I have always been someone that loves to write things down. It just makes sense to me to write things down. It just makes things click in my head. I did that when I was in school. That's how I studied. I liked copying notes over and over. Writing helps me. Well, I've learned that helps me in my prayer life as well. So, it's been really good for me to take some time to do prayer journaling on a regular basis. So, what I might do is have something, I might have something like this. So say I am looking at a specific scripture, or maybe on a particular day, you are praying for a different category. So I know some people like to pray for family one day and friends for one day and the church for another day and things like that. So maybe you're listing out your category right here for a prayer request right here, and then you're journaling out your actual written letter to God. That helps me so much. Actually writing my journaling down has just been a huge difference maker in how I like to go through my prayers. It helps me focus. I get less distracted as I'm praying. So it's just something that has made a big difference for me. And so it might make a difference for you. So if you've never tried writing down your prayers, it might be something to consider. It's also nice to have these to look back on later on, so you can track those answered prayers or the prayers that you are continuing to have over and over again. So there's ways that this can be really functional in different parts of your faith. You can mix and match it all together. Maybe some days you're writing prayers, some days you're writing scripture, some days you're taking notes, but you want it all on one spread. That works well too. This lends itself to faith planning really, really, really well. You could track studies up here that you are currently reading. There's so many possibilities. Faith planning in a horizontal just makes sense to me, which is why my regular faith planner layout is laid out very similarly to a horizontal. It just has these boxes already ready to go on each day. So if that's what you're looking for, then you may want to check out the faith planning spread as well. All right, let's talk about setting goals, creating habits, that type of thing. This layout can work. Do I think it's the ideal layout for tracking goals and habits? Maybe not. It can still work though. So let's talk about how we can do that. First of all, let's find a nice goal sticker to use to set our goal for the week. So this is what I love about having this dot grid paper up here. This is going to be a great space, a great flexible space for you to use as you want. So maybe you are using it to set your goal. Maybe you are a writer and your goal is to write. So your big goal is to write, let's see, maybe your big goal is to write a certain number of words by the end of the week. So write 10,000 words. By the end of the week. Okay, so you have that. That's the big goal. You've identified it. Then you just need a place to track it throughout the week. That could be a couple of different things. So you might, and this might be where you brainstorm how I'm going to get that done. So some ways to get that done. I might get up early, put phone in different room so that you don't scroll. These might be just some techniques that you are using. Speak / record first, meaning maybe you do better when you're just talking it out and then you go back and dictate. So these might be ideas that you're brainstorming to help you get to that goal. Just a heads up on that. And then you can do something like this. So maybe you're going to set your little goal right here, and each day you're putting in your little book and you're going to write out how many words you worked with that day. So maybe today I wrote 2,000 words. Maybe today I wrote 500, and this one I wrote 1,000. so I can track how I'm getting to my goal in that way. I would section off a little portion of this lined area on each day to track progress towards a bigger goal like that. The other thing you could do as far as goal setting, as far as habit keeping in this, is to use a longer box along the side. There are some other big goal boxes. So maybe you're going to take something like this. Let's hold on to this one. Let me see if I can find a long box in, yeah. So maybe you do have a goal for the week, but you don't need to track it every day. You just need a goal that you're tracking by the end of the week. It might be something like this. So maybe here's my big goal is for the end of the week to have cleaned out all the closets in my house. Well, then I'm going to list out the different closets that I have right here on this little sticker, and then check them off as I go. So I'm like, oh, did it. And I can track that specific goal for the end of the week. All right, and probably what I like to use a horizontal spread for the most is a creative journal. That is how I use my horizontal spread. It gives me a little bit of space for journaling each and every day. I decorate it however I want. I fill it in with writing as I go. There's happy things, there's sad things, there's big thing, anxiety city. It just like, there are good things that happen there, but like, it just gives me just a little space, just a moment to like tap in and see how I'm doing. I tend to fill out my creative journal in the morning for the day before. It allows me to check in with how did yesterday go? How am I feeling? What's today look like? I love doing the little boxes to kind of highlight the good things and the bad things. Zoom call, good things. Feeling nervous, bad things. Like there's all the different things. It's not all rainbows and sunshine, but it is just a place for me to touch base. So I very much enjoy it. I think it's a great way to work through different journaling prompts. You can give yourself a different prompt or a prompt for the week that you're kind of working through. It has worked really well for me. It's my favorite layout for creative journaling purposes. Obviously for faith journaling purposes, it just makes sense with the lines ready to go. I have enjoyed it very, very much. So that is definitely a way to dig into the horizontal layout. All right, so that is a peek at some ways that you can really utilize the horizontal layout. Like I said, my preference is to use it as a journaling layout, but it can work for different functions. But anytime you're wanting to write, whether you're symptom tracking, journaling, using it for faith, using it even for daily writing goals, just to write each and every day, I think it works really well for those purposes. Now, let me know down below, do you like the horizontal layout? Have you tried it, and what have you used it for in the past? I feel like this is a layout that we have all tried at some point in our lives. So let me know down in the comments below. Thank you so much for joining me today. Don't forget, I'm continuing this series on my channel. So if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can check out all of the other layouts that I am covering. It should be coming up on Sundays for a while. I've already done a few. I have a few more on my list. If you have one that you would like to see that you haven't seen on here, make sure to leave a comment and let me know. All right. I want to give a huge shout out to all of my Patreon members. Thank you all so much for all of your support. It's Planner Camp time over on Patreon. If you haven't heard about Planner Camp, it's still plenty early to join us. So head over to the link for Patreon down in the description box below and come join us for Planner Camp. All right. I hope that you have a fabulous day. And as always, keep it creative.